G.I. Joe fans are losing it over the latest Snake Eyes news. What up? It has been a dull few years for G.I. Joe fans. The franchise has been radio silent on the big screen since its second installment, G.I. Joe Retaliation, stormed into the theaters back in 2013, which has left fans wondering what's next for the real American heroes. How did I do, guys?
Good.
Thank you. A reboot? A third film? Or is it just staying on ice until Hasbro gets its shared cinematic toy universe spooled up? But all that changed this week when, after 6 years of absolutely nothing, we were suddenly bombarded with more news than we could handle about the toy line turned comic turned cartoon turned film series. Not only did Hasbro and Paramount announce that fans are getting a new G.I. Joe spin-off film, but fans are also getting a second brand new G.I. Joe spin-off film. That's like 2 for 1. And if that wasn't enough, one of the films is set to focus on everyone's favorite ninja commando, Snake Eyes, as he joins a ninja clan, which we can assume will be the Arashikage clan, as he seeks revenge for his father's death. But who could possibly portray Snake Eyes, the man of few words, who is the epitome of the classic strong, silent type? Well, G.I. Joe fans, let's call them Joe Bros. Isn't that what they call the Jonas Brothers fans?
No.
You know what? They're Joe Bros. Well, they were over the moon to learn that the all-around handsome man, star of Crazy Rich Asians, Henry Golding, my future husband, is in talks to take up the mantle of Snake Eyes, who was originally portrayed by Ray Park. You know, from... And it didn't take long for Joe Bros to hit up Twitter with their thoughts on this film and its casting. Like at Mike Ruello, who said, "Yes! Snake Eyes is my favorite G.I. Joe character. Fire emoji, fire emoji, fire emoji, goat emoji." And we think that most Joe Bros would agree that Snake Eyes truly is the goat. However, at Ian Cass brought up a great point. So here's the problem. Are you going to keep Henry Golding's handsome face underneath the mask the whole time? Because that's Snake Eyes. I mean, have you actually seen Snake Eyes' actual face? Because maybe you don't. If anyone does that to my baby's face, though, there'll be problems. At Dr. K Dude sees this as more of a feature than a bug, saying, "I'm down for a hashtag Snake Eyes movie, but I'll pay extra if he doesn't say a f***ing word the whole movie." I'm just personally making a point that if an Australian swears, it's so much more aggressive. Yeah. Now, not to get too nerdy, but he has talked before. Issue 102 of Marvel Comics G.I. Joe line, just saying. Hey, anyway, when can we expect this Snake Eyes flick? Well, it's right around the corner because it's got its eye on slithering into theaters for an October 2020 release. But this is only half of the story, which means you only know half of the information. And if knowing is half of the battle, then you're only prepared for half of a half, which is also known as a quarter maths of the battle. That other film that we mentioned is also in the works, but we don't know too much about it just yet, other than it will feature one of the more obscure characters in the G.I. Joe lineup, Chuckles. Now, for those of you who didn't save your G.I. Joe file cards, Chuckles is the team's undercover specialist, which debuted in both comic and action figure form back in 1987. But for those of you chuckling as to why Chuckles, of all characters, should be in the movie, you should know that Chuckles is no joke. He'll f*** you up. If you pull out your long boxes, there is a great miniseries from 2009 titled G.I. Joe Cobra, or Cobra if you're living in America, which I am, so I'll adjust, that features Chuckles infiltrating the Cobra terrorist organization to try to bring them down from within. So basically, it's Donnie Brasco meets G.I. Joe, and as executive producer B-Comp put it,
it's awesome.
Hell yeah. So how would these movies tie into the 2 movies that we already got in the Joe-niverse? Well, Snake Eyes appears to be a prequel, so we wouldn't be surprised if we saw a couple of returning faces there. We probably won't see Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson reprise his role as Roadblock because he's too expansive, but we could see Channing Tatum suit up again as Duke, because we're not going to see him anytime soon as Gambit. Now, between these films, it seems like there are interesting things in store for the Joe-niverse. Could these movies be the next step in Hasbro's planned cross-franchise toy shared movie universe? Who knows? So we're going to have to wait until Snake Eyes hits theaters in October 2020 to find out. But what do you folks think? Did you like Rise of the Cobra and Retaliation? What's your favorite G.I. Joe episode? Ours is where Cobra Commander carves his face into the moon. Why did he do that?
So every night they would have to look up and see Cobra Commander.
Yes! this mean that we can bring pork chop sandwiches back into the popular vernacular?
Pork chop sandwiches!
Let's discuss. Nom nom. Thanks so much for watching, guys. If you did like what you saw, why don't give us a like, a subscribe, join the clan. If you do want to get notified every time we go live with the show or drop a new video, feel free to mash that little bell. Maybe it's... Yep. You can be up to date on all the latest series news and rumors in the pop culture world.